sense.
Clap it in this time. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. We are the Radio Godz, and exclusive everybody. We got Ross Steen. We got Steakowski, Mr. Super Producer, Adam Moe, and I'm your Sammy D. Sam, also known as Rock. Hey, we coming to y'all today. Hey, we just gonna talk about a little something. There really is no, what you want to say, there's really no research involved in today's topic. And our topic today is dealing with sending your kids back to school during the COVID-19 and how do you feel about it? So I'm going to kick it off again. Thank y'all for tuning in. So the whole thing, the way I feel about it is concerning the COVID-19, the coronavirus, Roro, whatever you call it. Sending the kids back to school and the district that my children are in, they doing virtual learning, not virtual learning, they're doing blended learning, which is a combination of in school a couple days and then virtual learning the rest of the week. So
And you could do all virtual too, though.
you can, but well, I'm sorry, let me start off with the options of blended learning, virtual learning, all in class, and then pretty much the only option that you have. Or
Right.
you have homeschooling, so it's 4 options. So my take is when it comes to homeschooling, I'm gonna start off with that one because a lot of people's not really interested in that option as they claim to be. Is how does it count towards your child's credits if your child is in high school or the academic side of the schooling? All in school, well, all in session, all 5 days. No, I'm not a fan of that, because everybody's children don't follow hygiene. Not just at school, they don't do it at home. You also don't know if the little kids, like we gonna say, it's hard for them, kindergartners, first graders, second graders, and to keep the mask on their face if they gotta wear masks, like my man Ross Steen down here when you out in public. It's hard.
So it
I,
is.
I work in a warehouse right now with a mask on, and it's hard for me, and I'm an adult, So when it comes to the children, now the option that me and my family chose is the blended learning. When they come to school 2 days a week, they off 2 days a week by design, and then everybody's off on Friday, where the teachers using Google Classroom to do the teaching from the. I don't know if they'll be in the building, in the classroom, or if they use their homes, but the teacher will be actually teaching, unlike what they did when all of this kicked off and the schools closed down in the middle of March.
Was you able to get all your kids on the same day? Like send both?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
They put everything together and they finna start sending that information out. So I don't know yet.
No.
And I know Hazelwood doing it. I know Parkway is talking about doing something like that. A few other districts are trying to do all 5 days in class. And then you have a few other districts trying to do everything all virtual. The way I'm set up, because of my faith and what I believe in, and I believe in God will never let you go further than what you're able to handle, or put too much more on your plate than you can handle. As long as your faith is strong, there's really nothing that can happen to you that's not designed to happen to you, because everything is already written. You just following the path that He put you on. With that being said, we're gonna kick it off with. I'm gonna go with you, Rossline. I want to see what are you thinking.
Well, Like you said, I'm in Barnes and Noble right now getting material, and we doing straight homeschooling.
Okay.
No virtual, no in class, and I ain't doing in class because, like you said, kids, they are not going to keep the mask on their face. Soon as they see one of their little friends, they in their face. And if
Yep.
it's a kid, they got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, they in their face.
Yep.
And so I'm keeping my kids at home. This the second time we did homeschooling, so I already know what to expect. And when you said something about the credits, like the one that's in high school, Trend, I don't know if she's even going back even after all this over with. Because what I'm gonna do is when you said something about the credits, what you gotta do is when they progress and they take a test every year with the state first. But when I say not going back is because if I have to go back to their system, it's gonna put you behind on credits even though you tested out already. So what
Really.
I'm gonna do with her is just send her all the way through and just test out in just say a year or two. She's a sophomore now, but I believe in 2 years I can get her tested out of high school. And so she'll be able to go ahead and go forth with college and all that stuff. It's a
Oh,
whole lot that
I
go
didn't know
into
that.
yeah, it's a whole lot that go into it, and most people don't have the time or the patience to do it. And
I
when you're doing
feel.
homeschooling, it's really not an all day thing. You can do homeschooling in 4 or 5 hours a day and y'all done.
Do you
You
think
got
is? Do you actually think it's the time factor or is it more the patience factor?
I think it's more the patience. People don't have patience these days because the time you can be out like I'm out now and count this as field trip time, anything. You count this as going to pick up references in school time. These counted school hours. You need like 1,000 hours a year, whatever, but you can get them so quick and everything counts. And another thing that people don't do with the homeschooling is they probably don't want to do is they don't know how to keep records of everything that they doing.
And if they can't keep records of the knowing homeschooling for their children, then they can't keep records of their home life when it come to their bills and stuff.
And see, that's what most people fail at with the homeschool. Like I said, we
Yeah.
did homeschooling at first, and so we finna do it again. I already know what to expect. Like I just went out and bought a desktop for them to start working on and
Okay.
do stuff on. I bought a desktop and a printer so I can start getting my materials and everything off and making sure everything flow. Cause see, like mine, we finna start back. Like regular school, I don't think start back to like the 24th of August. We
Yeah.
finna start. They got one more week out, and then we gearing up and we rolling like the
Okay.
27th to 28th of July. We rolling already.
Gotcha.
And why I say that is because they only going to teach in the schools enough for you to pass the standardized testing. That's all that is. That's what they train you for to pass the standardized testing. And basically, the way schools are made these days, it's made for you to work in a factory, man, to put you on the assembly line, to keep you in order. That's what all that stuff is. It's
Do
not
you think
designed
that?
for you to excel. That's what the school is still everything. How everything has evolved in the world, the school system has stayed the same. It hasn't changed. It's still designed like it was back in the 40s and 50s to train you to work in these factories. That's all this stuff is. And that's why we so far behind because we only train our kids to pass a test. If you look at all the other countries out there and how they are so far ahead of us education wise, it's a big gap in there.
Okay.
I see why they call you the professor.
Steve Council, what you think, man?
All I can say is, man, God think I'm shooting blanks. I ain't got no kids to send back to school, boy.
Damn.
But I can understand, though, and I sympathize because these kids ain't gonna know nothing about social distancing. They ain't gonna know nothing about that. They see other kids with their masks off. I mean, if I had kids, I'd be worried as fuck, man. Sending my kid back to school, and I wouldn't. I'd probably do the same thing Brandon doing right now. I'll be out doing some research and grabbing some books and all that. Because hey, the last thing you want to do is send your kid off to school and get him sick. I feel like it's totally my fault because I knew not to send him, but you know, I want to be like everybody else and make sure my kid get education, but it just ain't safe no more.
So I got a question for y'all. This for everybody. What makes sending your kid to school different this time versus any other time? So like with the flu and all that type of stuff.
See, with me.
Hold on. I ain't done with the question. So if you was to send your kid to school and a child come to school with the flu or something like that, and you don't know about it and your child gets sick, would you still have those same concerns or feelings that you have now because you know about the COVID-19?
My decision is based partially on that. And that's only why I say partially is because kids don't know how to social distance. They don't listen. My main concern is when I look at my kids and I see holes in their education. That's really why we're doing it. It's holes there. And what I mean by holes is, like, Trin got put in some classes that she didn't even supposed to be in. So she got screwed over from the jump. And I really didn't know. Like they put her in an honors physics class or something, and you don't need to be in no honors physics class because you ain't there yet. And so when I get to looking at it, and I'm looking at all these holes, and I'm looking where everything been missed at, we got to go back. And so what we finna do is we going back a couple steps and take them back and make sure they got these basics down. They know the terminology, you know what I'm saying, of what you're supposed to be doing, and then progress forward. So my thing is, while I'm doing it, is to get them back up ahead and on schedule where they supposed to be. Because you think they on schedule now, and some of them not. Because like, sir, he ran into 3 or 4 years where his teachers didn't believe in giving out homework. And he's smart. And so he's so smart that he's not doing the homework. He's passing all the tests. He's getting good grades, but he's lacking because he really ain't, he's getting lazy because he's not having to do that work. And so it's messing him up. And so my thing is to put my influence on what they learning. I'm going to teach what they saying over here, but it's some other stuff I want you to learn. Like, I want you to learn about our history, not just theirs.
Right.
I'm going to do African-American history all through the year.
More I'm than just 28 days.
I'm going to teach you what they saying over here, but I'm going to teach you this real stuff too.
Adamo, what you think? Well, to my question, what's your answer?
Is because it's different than a flu right now. People are actually dying from this, so that's why like in the past we would have sent our kids to school for a flu. The way it is now with the COVID, people are dying from it, so I think that's why people are concerned about it now. I think it's
people died from the flu before they had a vaccine.
I mean, not in these numbers, though. Have they recently?
I'm not saying recently. I'm saying when the flu was introduced.
You would have to go back to the 1918 flu where all the people died, and it was sort of like the COVID thing where they had a first wave and people really didn't take it serious and they went back to doing what they was doing, and then the second wave ended up killing like 5 million people or something like that. Yeah. So you have to go back to like that 1918 Spanish flu.
It's more or less researching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an old rock, but I ain't that old, man. So
I ain't saying that. I just presented the question because, like, when I do go out to grocery store, because you have to go to the grocery store for your family. You know what I'm saying? The place that I do work, and then when you just be seeing people for the various places you do have to go to get the necessities that you need in your life, you hear people talk about it. I'm not sending my kids to school because it's so and so and so and so and yada yada yada. And I just sit back and I think, And I think about a lot of stuff all week. Not just all week, but since it started when they was talking about introducing school back into the equation and people's thoughts, and I'm like, what makes this different? Hold on, what makes this different than the flu or the bird flu or the swine flu or the Ebola, stuff like that? You kept sending your kids to school, and who knows if this is real or not. You know what I'm saying? Don't really
What
nobody know, but who introduced it. Go ahead.
what what messes me up about the whole thing is you would say that it's okay to release prisoners because COVID is so bad, but you want to send the kids back to school. It don't make no sense to me. How we
What you
gonna
think
release
is making no
prisoners from
sense?
prison because COVID is so rapid, but now you want me to send my kid into a school?
I think it should be because everybody's situation is different.
Mm.
So I think people should be. I wouldn't look upon a parent that has to send their child back to school, but I think we should all have the options, and I think that's what they're doing in my son's school district. Is they're giving us options. So if I don't want to send them back to school, that's my option. If I want to send them to school, not because of fear or anything, a lot of people don't have.
People don't have adequate child care. So, like you said, the
That's
option
why they
is
want to sit them
good
back.
because you have to go to work to make money, and if you can't go to work to provide, you all messed up. So that's why I say I wouldn't look on it like you said. I wouldn't look down on nobody who have to send them back because I know that you still have to go on with what you're doing in the world.
Yeah, and not just child care too. It could be they don't have adequate home living. A lot of
Right,
kids go to school to eat.
Yep.
right.
So
And it's their safe haven when they go to school.
yeah,
Hmm.
I agree, man. But the point being that is the flu is the flu. Now I can see a parent sending their kid to school and then they catch the flu from another student. I can see them dealing with that. But sending them to school and to catch this COVID shit, it's a whole different story, man. So I wouldn't advise no parent to send their kids back to school, to be honest with
The COVID-19 ain't nothing but the flu on steroids though. And
that's all.
they ain't got no vaccine for it. I'm not making no excuses for nothing or nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting things out there in the air for people to think about. And that's just the type of person that I am. You know what I'm saying? Don't just go off what you hear on the news or see in the media or what's on Google. You know what I'm saying? Because even Wikipedia got lies. You
Hey
know what I'm
Right.
man,
saying?
It's
I
a lot go on because even though all these deaths are labeled as COVID deaths, they're not actually all COVID
Right,
deaths.
right.
So
you.
you
Man,
got people who are
it's just,
dying from other stuff, and it's just labeled as that. So, like you said, you really don't know how bad it is for real or what's
Right.
being pumped up for real. So, I guess it's best. My best thing to say is make sure you protect yourself.
Yep. They had already said though that unless basically if you was shot, you know what I'm saying, and the other thing it was gonna be labeled a COVID-19 death. They already said that. Ah, check you out. Surgical nigga.
what about George Floyd, man? They say he had the COVID.
That's what they say, man. Anything to try to pacify they try to pacify the public, bro. That's what they doing. They're trying to pacify the public, bro. That
That's
wasn't
another story, though. I was just
yeah. So
going
I
there.
get what you saying. Yeah, we just gonna leave that alone, but that's to pacify the public. That's just how I feel.
I'm finna do surgery.
Damn, you got the professional mask,
You
man.
heard me? That mud big as fuck too.
I
I be
got about
putting
9 of these motherfuckers too.
I be putting
Look,
my
I got
mask
a
on.
whole
I
pack
don't know if
of
it's
them.
because of my beard, but
It
that
be
mud
looking
be looking
small.
small.
That's what I started to tell you when you took that FedEx picture the other day. It looks small.
Hey, and for real, that man's big as fuck.
Hey, Brandon, he got one of them extra medium masks.
Man,
I'm gonna make extra medium.
I hate that. I ain't cutting my beard off though, so that man's just gonna have to look how it look, cause I don't give a shit.
But to get back on topic though, y'all, I think whatever we have to do, our leaders, our governors, our state, whatever we need to do to fund money to put into make the children, when they do go back safe, we need to do it, man.
Yeah.
I'm always for the kids. I don't care about when they're voting and stuff, and they're like, give this to the police, give this to the firefighters. I always say no on that crap. But for the kids, anything that's gonna help our youth to stimulate them and make things better for them, man, I'll pay more money for that. So
Right.
One more question for y'all.
They got a lot of options, man. Now they can shorten these classes. They got a lot of options they can do, man. But they can't put these kids at risk, because you hear this constantly, like the kids are the future and all this. But
How long they been saying that though?
They've been saying that for a long time. I can tell you that right now.
And how much do they really believe it? Because if they truly believe it, they would do a little bit more than what they've been doing.
Right. I agree with you totally on that. But the point being that is, you being a parent, how really safe you can be, and the thought of you being safe of sending your kids back to school. But the point being that is, the flu is a flu. The corona is a whole different story. And me, myself, if I was a parent, man, this shit would scare the hell out of me. Sending one of my babies back to school, this shit would scare the hell out of me. So I could just have the whole thought process of what y'all going through about thinking about this, or either sending y'all kids to school anyway. Because you can send them to school and you ain't got the slightest idea if you'll ever see them again. So the point being that is, I feel for all y'all parents, and I feel for all of y'all. But the decision that you make, it just ain't for you. It's for your babies too, and their future too.
Yeah, one of the reasons I don't want to send my child to school is because I don't think the COVID is that serious. I believe my son and me, we may have had the COVID. We might have it now, but we're not feeling no symptoms or anything. But it's something that I don't want to entangle my child up into. I don't know, like, if he does get the COVID, or they gonna put him through this legal thing inside the school, or not even if he gets it. If there's an outbreak or something in his class or on his school bus, or they gonna make it to where he has to go into this room and then they isolate him. I don't want to go through all of that stuff. I don't want to put my child through that. So
Right.
Okay. So we're gonna break it down like this. Ninkowski, since you don't have no kids, you can still put your input in it, but right. So Rothstein, I'm already knowing you will know. Adamo, yes or no?
you say what?
I say, as far as going back to school, I say we already know Rothstein is a no. And for you, yes or no?
Personally, with my child, no, he's not going back to school because I'm working from home now. But I don't knock anybody that has to use that other option to go back. I don't judge people, or I'm not knocking people that may have to send their child back to school. Some people don't have the options.
So before our time run out, I want to present one last question. Do you think that they should do month to month as it pertains to trying to get the children back to school, and how they are and how they are handling things? Should they do semester by semester or year by year? And what I mean by that is, you know, they call themselves doing the deep cleaning, with the Lysol and all different type of little chemicals and hand sanitizers and things like that, as they try to get a handle on the COVID-19 situation or the outbreak, how do you feel, or how do y'all feel it should be handled going forward and trying to get the children back in school?
I think each situation is different though, because some areas aren't hit heavy by the COVID and some more. So, I mean, I think it should be handled accordingly to that particular area where there's more outbreaks in that area and it's running rampant. So that's my
Right,
take
like
on it.
I think in the Hazelwood School District, I think they're doing semesters. I think if you say you're gonna keep your kid home on virtual schooling, then I think you have to do the whole semester, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like, and what why they doing that is to make sure, like, if you say if a teacher's supposed to have 15 kids in the classroom or whatever, that they have enough material and stuff for those kids. And so, and I think it's to keep the balance and everything.
Right.
And I think with them giving options, with some people wanting to leave their kids at home and some people wanting to take their kids back to school, that helps the situation too, because you got lesser kids in the school and you can do
And I think they
better
still
social
gonna
distancing.
right. And I think with it being a smaller amount of kids in the room, they might actually learn a little more. Because if you remember back when we was kids, they would only have so many kids in the classroom.
Yeah.
Now you may have 25 or 30 kids in the classroom, so that means somebody not getting the attention they need to get the information they need. So somebody getting left behind.
25 kids in a room.
Right.
Yeah.
I was probably
I
one of them
needed a
kids
lot.
that didn't get it.
Needed a lot of attention from my teacher. I ain't get it. She was bad too, boy.
What kind of, that's what I was about to say. What kind of attention you talking about?
I wasn't getting this shit. I know this.
Hey,
Hey, only attention I was getting was detention. That's all I was getting.
fucked up. Hey, well, we're gonna wrap it up, fellas. I think we did pretty good today. Touched on a few things, got some information out, and had some stuff for people to think about. So we're gonna sign off, and I thank you guys and everybody for tuning in to the radio, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good one.